feel like a good walk through the woods, bro. I mean, like, it's a nice day. It's cold as shit. Well, no viewers yet, but I'm out here chilling, talking to myself amongst the trees, just straight chilling, yo. So, I'm actually going to start working out soon. That's the reason I come to this park, because, you know, they got workout equipment, as you can see. We got some bars, some good old pull-up bars. I should have brought my tripod, but I wasn't sure if I was going to go live. But good old favorite place to come work out. It's peaceful, you know. You come here by yourself, you train, you work on yourself, and, you know, you focus on self-improvement. It's a very peaceful place to come work out, you know. So while you're here, you get to free your mind, think about the things that matter most to you, let go of your worries. Because out here, your problems don't matter, right? So like, nature is doing its own thing. And nature is being as peaceful as possible, just being, just existing. So like, when you come here, it's definitely an escape from like corporate reality. Because on one hand, when you go back to your daily life, it's all about work, making money, relationships, you know, the stress that comes along with that, the goals that you may have like doubts about, but you know if you can reach those goals, you're going to make a change in your life. Sometimes, like, you just do things. These are like rare occasions too, what I'm referring to. Like, you just do things. And what I mean by that is like, you'll start to do something in correlation to what your end goal is. Because you want to reach it, but subconsciously you probably think about it, or you've already planted that idea so well from repeated thoughts of achieving it, even if you're like just daydreaming, right? So somehow that gets picked up by the subconscious and it starts to create a reality for you. It offers signs like confirmation bias, for example. Things that you're going to like consciously and visually pick up on and think to yourself like, damn, that reminds me of this. Or I never thought I'll be here. That sort of like realization. And I think that takes place because it's like we have two natures. One nature wants to keep you in the past, familiar with the things that you've done before, and maybe like, you know, shit didn't work out. So now your personality traits are somehow governed by those past failures because you never let go. So that's what I mean by like sometimes you accidentally walk that path to achieving your dreams not knowingly, because on a subconscious level you've already accepted it as a reality because you thought about it so many ways, you visualized it so many ways. Like when you're daydreaming, that shit's fucking visualized. It's like you're literally asleep in a sense because you're activating the subconscious, which is what you do when you're asleep anyways. But when you're actively and intentionally doing it, it's a different story because now you're awake, really awake, while you're fucking awake as you are now, right? So what I mean by that is we have repetitive actions and habits that we make every day, repetitive thoughts, and sometimes that becomes so much as the main track of our life, we do it on autopilot. So we don't realize that we're getting a reality that we don't want because we don't take actions on the things that we think about the most. Like they have that saying, like, it's not about doing what you love in life. It's just, you know do what you can, make make as much as you can, and like take care of your family, make sure you pay your rent, like all these fucking mundane things. And I call them mundane because you're here for a very short period of time. So while wasting on doing what you call work in a way of like in such a routine way, as if you're brushing your teeth, you just do it without thinking about it. And that's not the way you want to be. Obviously you want to brush your teeth, but like that's something you want to do because you understand the value behind it. So, and then when you take a job, you want to do that, or if you take one opportunity in life, you want to do that because the value behind it, that how it elevates you as a person. Not because it gets you that new TV or that new Xbox and allows you to pay for all these new subscriptions. Yeah, you're not doing it for that. These are like realities that are sold to us because as we're in the moment, immersed doing those things, we're experiencing what that is. And it's like it's a huge distraction because while you're immersed in that, you're just giving your time away to go back to the thing you don't want to do. And you spend more time doing that. And then when you're not doing that, you're escaping by going to these existential fake realities because you're trying to go into the imagination. I feel like that's probably one of the best ways to sum it up because the subconscious looks at things through images and videos. And if it's repeated enough, somehow it creates like this foundation for it to somehow collectively bring things around you into fruition for you. It's like everything's happening at once. And while these things are happening, everything seems out of order and random and chaotic. And I think that's why most people feel stress and anxiety because there's so much level of uncertainty that you cannot move forward without making a mistake. So you can have a goal, try your best to achieve it. I mean, let's just say on the bright side, you somehow achieve it. But the adversity didn't change. It would have been hard for you if you were the person who gave up, just as hard as it is for you as the person who didn't give up. The only difference is one kept going and the other stopped. I think you got to have a mindset of absolute certainty because what you choose to think becomes the belief. And once that becomes the belief, that becomes more real and tangible than the actual moment. The moment is just confirmation that you can do it, that you can experience it. It's an escape from a past version of yourself. But you really spent that time getting there. You didn't spend that time watching it in a 2-hour movie condensed for the sake of giving you this much experience and pleasure visually and mentally for a price. I'm saying that a version of you exists, and if you work on your mind and self-improvement, the price you pay is far more worth it because you really lived and experienced that reality. That's what I'm saying. But for all I know, my microphone ain't even working. I'm probably talking to myself. But I just wanted to share some thoughts because when I come out here to the woods to work out, these are the thoughts that like I run through my mind. And I try to improve on them and look for like areas. The most areas I look for are the ones where like my logic doesn't make sense. And I do that because obviously I'm going to choose my own opinion over everything else. So whatever I hear that sounds good may not always be good. It just sounds good because that's what I want to hear. That's what I relate to. But I'm looking for the areas of like flaw in the logic because life is random and there's so much going on all the time, whereas you can't possibly know everything. You don't know what you don't know. So when you look for that, that's when you find more discovery and creativity, looking for different ways to solve the same problem over and over again. It doesn't matter how many times you can get it right, as much as it does for how many times you can find it wrong. because every time you find it wrong, you have a reason to grow, to obtain a different perspective, to understand it differently. Because you never know what situation or circumstance you're going to find yourself in where that sort of thinking becomes much more valuable than anything else that you could have gotten from a school somewhere. Because that's something you can only do personally for yourself. There's a way that you think that makes the most sense to you. So you're not going to like meet someone, and even if you do, it's going to be a very rare chance. But you're not going to consistently meet people who think the exact same way you do and are able to look for your flaws, whereas you are willing to accept them as if you said it yourself. Because sometimes we don't want to hear that we're wrong, or for it to be openly looked at, to be dissected by someone else through their lens and opinions. Let's just face it, like, no one really likes that. Just because you can do it and practice at it and become okay with it, that doesn't mean you wouldn't prefer to hear it from yourself first, to establish some true trust and rapport with who you are. That builds your fucking confidence. When you start doing that, you look at things differently, more achievable. You're already willing to accept the adversity beforehand because that's what you've been trained to expect. I think my earphones just died. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the best ways to go about life, because what is nature but existence taking place all at once, coexisting in the same time space. However far it may appear separate, it's all in the same time space. So there's a timeline. I think the difference with people, or should I say humans, is the thought that we can think and observe our thoughts and observe the patterns. I feel like when you observe the patterns, you realize how much of a frequency it is, more or less, than just random thoughts. Because if you think good about something, maybe positive, like, all right, well, let's just say something bad happens. You got like a flat tire or something, right? And you want to think about like how you're going to get the best price when you get to the dealership, how there's probably a promotion going on, and how they're going to give you great customer service because maybe that person is just in a good mood. Now they want to like pass that good energy on to you. Let's just say that's the way you chose to put that thought into detail and then expect it. When you get there, you'll find that there's confirmation bias because similar things will happen. And it's going to confirm within you a feeling that lets you know, like, this is what I was just thinking about. See, in order to pull that off, simply all you need to do is choose the thought, but do not allow any other thoughts to like and penetrate that little train of thought that you have going on. Fully believe what you're thinking on purpose in that moment, but try to do it as long as you can. If you can reach 3 minutes, that'd be good, because then you're going to start to associate an emotion with a belief. So when you see it, it's instant recognition. I can't even say the word. You'll instantly recognize how it made you feel before and how it makes you feel now. The way I see it, it's more like if it's a frequency, it's coming from somewhere and it's going somewhere. It's like an A to B process. Maybe like ABC, because there's a start, which becomes the past. Then there's a present, which becomes the future. But before it does that, it becomes the past again. So you're somewhere in the middle. When we think back on memories, that's traveling to the past, because those are things that we've already experienced, right? But see, dreams work differently. Thoughts and ideas work differently, because you're actually looking forward as if you're dreaming about something that has already happened. That's why when you get that feeling that it feels real, it's very identical to when you wake up from like a bad dream or a really good dream, and it bothers you for a few hours long after you're awake. Because the feeling was so emotionally strong for you that somehow you believed that it was real. So Here's the thing. The more emotion you put behind a thought that you create, there's a higher chance of it becoming real. But the more you repeat it, the more your mind becomes willingly to accept the fact that it is there. It is possible. Not possible like, oh, there's a chance you can fail. It's not freaking gambling. It's the fact that there's another side, and it's going to start to find ways to create it for you because you already gave it the blueprint. So I think in the present moment, you have the power of the past and the future because you can look back and learn, but you can look forward and dream because you already have a foundation of logic of what it feels like to get from one point to the next. The more you change in the present moment, the better future realities you create, therefore changing the past. Because those moments will become present moments, and at some point they will become the past. You're intentionally choosing to change the present moment in such a way where you're now the determining factor. I don't know. I think that's what the world needs. I feel like if it was possible to explain it in such a way where a massive amount of people got it and really that idea really hooked on for them, I feel like it would spread like crazy. I think that mentality could be very contagious if people understood how it really worked. I think that's mind blowing. All right, I think the stream is over. Time to go work out. Peace out, guys.